You're sitting there, aren't you? Thinking, wondering, why? Why you? Why now? Why them? The whys are eating you alive, carving you up from the inside out, making you feel like some little broken puzzle piece that'll never fit anywhere. And you want to scream, don't you? Tear the whole damn world apart just to find 1 ounce of fairness in it. But you won't. You're too nice, too understanding, too goddamn reasonable. Let me guess. You keep thinking maybe it's your fault. Maybe if you'd said something different, been someone better, done more, then they wouldn't have treated you like garbage. Then they wouldn't have spat on your kindness, laughed at your vulnerability, and walked away like you were nothing more than a shadow on the sidewalk. You fool. You absolute beautiful fool. Let me explain something to you. People like them, they don't change. They don't wake up one morning and suddenly grow a conscience. No, they feed on people like you. People who care too much, who hope too much, who feel too much. Your kindness was never a shield. It was a goddamn invitation. And you know what? They accepted. They ate from your table, drank from your cup, and then smashed it all to pieces the second they were full. Do you think they cared? Ha, no. They didn't even think about you afterward. Not once. While you're sitting here drowning in the ocean of your own questions, they're out there laughing, moving on, treating the next poor sucker the same way they treated you. But here's the real kicker. Your anger, it means nothing to them. It's like a dog barking at a hurricane. They'll watch, they'll smirk, and then they'll go back to ignoring you. They don't deserve your rage. What they deserve is your indifference. That, my friend, is the one thing they can't handle. The moment you stop caring, when their words, their opinions, their very existence stop mattering, that's when you win. That's when you strip away their power and leave them standing there, hollow, irrelevant, insignificant. You see, people like them thrive on attention, good or bad. Your anger feeds them just as much as your love did. But your indifference, that's a wound they can't heal. That's a prison they can't escape. It's like ripping the spotlight away and leaving them to rot in the dark, unnoticed and forgotten. But here's the problem. You're too soft. You still want to understand them. You still want to believe there's good in everyone. Ha! Let me tell you something. It's a lie. Not everyone deserves to be understood. Not everyone is worth saving. Some people, they're just broken mirrors. All they'll ever do is reflect your flaws and distort your light until you can't recognize yourself anymore. So stop trying to fix them. Stop trying to fix anything. Fix yourself. Pick up those shattered pieces they left behind, but don't put them back together the same way. No, no, no. Build something new. Something sharper, stronger. Something that won't shatter the next time someone tries to break you. Do you know what the worst part of all this is? It's not their disrespect. It's the way you've disrespected yourself. You let them walk all over you. You let their words get under your skin. Let their actions define your worth. Why? Because you thought they cared? Because you thought you mattered to them? Wake up. They didn't care. You mattered to you, and that should have been enough. But it wasn't, was it? Because deep down, you don't think you're enough. You're still looking for someone else to validate you, to tell you that you're worthy, that you're strong, that you're enough. Here's the truth, kid. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to pat you on the back and tell you it's all going to be okay. You have to do that for yourself. You have to be your own hero, your own savior, your own goddamn warrior. Because the world, it doesn't care about you. It never has, and it never will. But that's the beauty of it. When you stop waiting for the world to give you something, when you stop needing its approval, its validation, its love, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you take all that pain, all that anger, all that goddamn emptiness, and you turn it into power. Do you hear me? You take it all the disrespect, the betrayal, the loneliness, and you use it. Let it fuel you. Let it drive you. Let it forge you into something so unbreakable, so untouchable, that the next time someone tries to hurt you, they'll break themselves against you. Because here's the thing, they disrespected you because they thought you were weak. They thought you'd crumble, that you'd fade away. Prove them wrong. Show them that their disrespect didn't destroy you. It transformed you. Show them that their biggest mistake wasn't underestimating you. It was thinking they could hurt you in the first place. So go ahead. Let them talk. Let them laugh. Let them live in their little bubbles of delusion, thinking they've won. Because one day, when they least expect it, they'll look for you. They'll look for the version of you they once knew, the one they thought they could control, manipulate, destroy. And you know what they'll find? Nothing. Because that version of you is gone, dead, buried, and in its place, a goddamn force of nature. Their disrespect deserved anger. But your indifference, that's far worse. And when they feel it, when they truly understand it, they'll regret every second they ever took you for granted. But by then, it'll be too late. You're still here, aren't you? Still listening. Still clinging to that thread of hope. Huh. Hope. Funny little thing, isn't it? They like to call it a light, a guide, a spark. But you know what I call it? A chain. Because hope is what keeps you tied to them. It's what drags you back every time you try to break free. You hope they'll change, that they'll come back, that they'll apologize, that they'll make things right. Let me tell you something. Hope is the cruelest joke life ever played on you. It whispers sweet lies into your ear, keeps you waiting, keeps you forgiving, keeps you bleeding. And all the while, they're out there living their lives, unbothered, unscathed, completely unaware of the storm they left raging inside you. Do you know what they'd say if they saw you like this? If they knew how much space they still occupy in your mind? They'd laugh. Oh, they'd try to hide it, of course. Play it cool. Act like they care. But deep down, they'd feel satisfied. Because people like them. They thrive on control. They need to know they still have a hold on you, even if it's just a thread. Cut the thread. No more waiting. No more wondering. No more replaying every little moment in your head, searching for answers you'll never get. Because the truth is, there are no answers. Sometimes people are just cruel. Sometimes they're selfish. Sometimes they hurt you not because of anything you did, but because of who they are, or who they'll never be. You gave them a chance, didn't you? Hell, you gave them 1,000 chances. You gave them your time, your trust, your love, your forgiveness. And what did they give you in return? Lies, manipulation, pain. And still you sit here trying to find a way to make sense of it all. You don't get it, do you? You're not supposed to make sense of it. It's not your job to untangle the mess they made. That's on them. You didn't break anything. You didn't fail anyone. They did. And yet here you are, carrying the weight of their sins on your shoulders like some kind of martyr. But let me tell you something about martyrs. They die. They always die. And you're not going to die for them. Not emotionally, not mentally, not physically. No. You're going to live. And you're going to live so goddamn well that it'll haunt them. They'll see your name, your face, your success, and it'll eat at them like a cancer. Oh, they'll act like it doesn't bother them. They'll pretend they don't care. But deep down, they'll know. They'll feel it. The sting of being left behind. The ache of knowing they were nothing but a stepping stone for you. A lesson. A catalyst. They'll see you rise, and it'll remind them of everything they'll never be. But you won't even notice. Because by then, you'll be so far ahead, so far beyond them, that their existence will barely register as a memory. Do you feel it yet? That fire? That anger? That cold, unrelenting resolve? Good. Hold on to it. Let it grow. Let it consume every doubt, every fear, every ounce of weakness they left inside you. Because you're not weak. You never were. You were just too kind, too trusting, too human. But now you're something else, something harder, sharper, stronger. Do you think they'll recognize you the next time they see you? They won't. Because the person you were, the one who cared, who begged, who hoped, that person is gone, dead, and in their place, a force of nature, a goddamn storm. A storm that doesn't ask for permission, that doesn't wait for approval, that tears through everything in its path without a second thought. And here's the thing about storms. They don't just destroy, they cleanse. They make way for something new, something better. So be the storm. Be the thing they never saw coming. Be the lesson they'll never forget. But remember this, the storm isn't for them. It's not about revenge or proving a point. It's for you to rebuild, to grow, to become everything they said you couldn't be. Not because you want to spite them, but because you deserve it. Because you owe it to yourself to be whole again, to be free. And when that day comes, when you finally feel the weight lift, when their voices fade into nothing and their shadows no longer linger, you'll realize something. You'll realize that their disrespect didn't destroy you. It didn't define you. It wasn't even about you. It was about them, their flaws, their insecurities, their inability to see the value in something as rare, as beautiful, as powerful as you. And that's their loss forever. You know what's funny? Not ha ha funny, but that sick, ironic twist life loves to serve up. It's that the people who tear you down the most, the ones who mock you, dismiss you, leave you hanging by a thread, they're the ones who can't stand their own reflection. Oh, they'll act like they're untouchable, like they got it all figured out. But deep down, they're terrified. Scared of being forgotten, scared of being unimportant, scared of being nothing. So what do? They try to make you feel like nothing. It's projection, plain and simple. Their weakness, their failures, their lack of worth, they shove it all onto you. And because you care, because you feel, you let it stick. You wear their insecurities like a badge, like it's your burden to bear. But let me ask you this. Why? Why carry their garbage? Why drag their weight around like it's chained to your ankle? They're not thinking about you. They're not losing sleep over what they did, over what they said. No, they've moved on. So, why haven't you? Because you've been trained to think that letting go is weakness, that indifference is cold, cruel, wrong. But here's the truth, kid. Indifference isn't weakness. It's not cruelty. It's survival. It's taking your power back. It's saying, oh, you don't get to live rent-free in my head anymore. And trust me, that scares them more than anything. Your indifference, it's like a mirror showing them exactly what they are. Nothing. That's the real revenge. The ultimate comeback. Not anger, not tears, just silence, just nothing. You think they'll come back one day, don't you? You're holding on to that sliver of hope that maybe, just maybe, they'll realize what they did, that they'll apologize, make amends, beg for your forgiveness. But let me save you the suspense. They won't. because people like them. They don't have the guts. They don't have the spine to face what they've done. It's easier for them to keep moving, to pretend you don't exist, to convince themselves that you were the problem. And you know what? Let them live in their little delusion. Let them think they're the heroes of their own story. Because while they're busy running from the truth, you'll be writing a new story, a better one. One where you don't need their approval, their validation, their presence. You're stronger than this. You're stronger than them. They wanted to break you, to see you fall, to watch you crumble into dust. But you're still here, still breathing, still fighting. And that, my friend, is the ultimate victory. Every breath you take, every step you move forward, it's a slap in their face, a reminder that they didn't win. But don't get cocky. Don't let this be about them. This isn't their story anymore. It's yours. And the sooner you stop wasting your energy on their memory, the sooner you'll start living. Real living. Not this half life you've been stuck in, replaying every hurt, every betrayal, every goddamn mistake. Listen to me, because this is the most important thing I'll ever tell you. You're not defined by what they did to you. You're not defined by their words, their actions, their absence. You're defined by what you do next, by how you rise, by how you rebuild. And rebuild you must. But don't rebuild the old you. Don't try to put the pieces back exactly as they were. Because the old you, that person let them in. That person trusted them, forgave them, gave them chance after chance. The new you, the you that comes out of this fire, that person doesn't make the same mistakes. That person doesn't settle for scraps, doesn't beg for attention, doesn't tolerate disrespect. The new you, that person demands more, expects more, is more. And that's what terrifies them. That's what keeps them up at night. Because deep down, they know you're going to outgrow them. You're going to outshine them. You're going to become something so extraordinary that their little minds can't even comprehend it. And they'll regret it. Oh, they'll regret it. But by then, you won't care. By then, their regret will mean nothing to you. Because you'll have moved on. You'll have built a life so full, so rich, so powerful, that their existence will be nothing more than a faint, distant memory. So stop wasting your time on them. Stop giving them space in your head, in your heart. They don't deserve it. They never did. And you? You deserve so much more. You deserve the kind of life they could never give you. The kind of happiness they could never understand. So go, build it, live it, be it. And when they look for you in the ruins of their own choices, when they search for the person they once knew, the person they thought they could control, they'll find nothing. Nothing but the shadow of the storm that changed everything. Now go. Prove me right or prove me wrong. Either way, the choice is yours. You're still waiting, aren't you? For someone, anyone, to tell you it's okay to move on. You want permission to let go, to stop caring, to finally say, enough. Well, here it is, from me. Let them go. Stop holding onto the wreckage as if there's some treasure buried beneath the ruins. There isn't. You know that, don't you? You've always known. But still, you hold on. Still, you cling to the past like it's some kind of lifeline, even though it's drowning you. Let me ask you something. What's the point? What are you holding on to? A memory? A hope? A version of them that never even existed? You see, that's the cruelest part. You weren't in love with them. Not really. You were in love with the idea of them. The version you built in your head. The one who cared, who saw you, who valued you. But that person, they weren't real. They were a mask, a facade, a lie. And when the mask slipped, when the truth came out, you still couldn't let go. You kept chasing the illusion, hoping, praying that they'd put the mask back on and become the person you wanted them to be. But they won't. They can't. Because that person never existed. You have to stop running in circles. Stop holding on to ghosts. You're wasting your time, your energy, your life. For what? For someone who wouldn't cross the street to save you if you were dying in the gutter? For someone who saw your light, your fire, your soul, and decided to snuff it out just because they could? No, you're better than this. You're stronger than this. And deep down, you know it. You've always known it. That's why their betrayal hurt so much, isn't it? Because they saw the real you. The you that's rare, unique, irreplaceable. And instead of treasuring it, they destroyed it. Not because you weren't enough, but because they weren't. Do you hear me? They weren't enough. Not you. You gave them everything. Your time, your trust, your love. And they squandered it. They took something precious and treated it like trash. That's not your failure. That's theirs. And the sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll be free. But freedom, real freedom, it's not easy. It's not something you just wake up and decide to have. It's something you fight for, something you claw your way toward, inch by bloody inch. And it starts with a choice. A simple, brutal choice. Are you going to keep letting them live in your head rent-free, tearing you apart from the inside out? Or are you going to evict them? Lock the door? Throw away the key and burn the goddamn building to the ground if you have to? Because that's what it takes. Fire. Destruction. A complete and utter obliteration of everything they left behind. Their words, their lies, their fingerprints on your heart. Burn it all. Wipe the slate clean. Not for them, not for revenge, but for you. For the person you're going to become. for the life you're going to build. And let me tell you, that life, it's going to be beautiful. Not perfect, no. Perfection's a lie, but it'll be yours. Every choice, every step, every victory, it'll be yours. And they'll just be a footnote, a cautionary tale, a reminder of how far you've come. Oh, they'll hate it. They'll hate seeing you thrive, seeing you happy, seeing you untouchable. Because people like them, they can't stand it when their victims rise. It's a blow to their fragile little egos, their delusions of power. But by then, it won't matter, because you'll be too far gone, too far ahead, too far above them for their opinions to mean a damn thing. And here's the best part. You don't even have to do anything to make them regret what they did. Just live. Just succeed. Just be the person they were too blind, too selfish, too stupid to see. That's all it takes. Your existence will be their punishment, your happiness, their torment. And the best part? They'll never admit it. They'll pretend they don't care, that they've moved on. But deep down, every time they hear your name, every time they see your face, it'll sting. It'll burn. It'll remind them of everything they lost. And you won't even notice, because by then you'll be too busy living, too busy loving, too busy building a life so full, so rich, so goddamn beautiful, that their existence will be nothing more than a distant, fading shadow. He steps back, his arms outstretched, his voice rising into a triumphant crescendo. So go, burn the past, build the future, be the storm, the fire, the force of nature that no one can ignore. And when they look back, when they realize what they lost, what they threw away, let them sit with that regret. Let them choke on it. But you'll be free. Free to live, free to grow, free to become everything they said you couldn't be. And that's the greatest revenge of all. Now go. Prove me right, or prove me wrong. Either way, make sure they never forget the day they lost you. You know, it's funny. People like to think that time heals all wounds, that if you wait long enough, the pain will fade, the scars will vanish, and you'll wake up one day feeling whole again. But that's a lie, a fairy tale for the weak. Time doesn't heal. It only teaches. And do you know what it teaches? It teaches you who you are when the world stops pretending to care. When the people you trusted show you their true colors. When the ones you loved turn their backs and leave you bleeding. That's when you learn the truth about yourself, about how strong or how weak you really are. So tell me, what have you learned? Have you learned to stop chasing after people who don't give a damn about you? Have you learned to stop apologizing for being yourself? Have you learned to stop handing out forgiveness like it's candy just because you're afraid of being alone? Because if you haven't learned those things, then the pain was for nothing. Their betrayal, their disrespect, it was all wasted on you. And that's the worst thing you can do. Let your suffering go to waste. Pain isn't the enemy, kid. Pain is a teacher. Pain is a reminder that you're alive, that you've got something left to fight for. But you're treating it like a curse, like it's something to run from, to bury, to ignore. That's why you're stuck. That's why you're still sitting here, replaying every word they said, every look they gave, every goddamn moment they made you feel small. You don't get to run from this. You don't get to bury it. You have to face it. You have to let it burn through you. Strip away every lie, every illusion, every piece of you that still clings to the past. Because that's the only way you're going to come out of this alive. And when you do, when you rise from the ashes, they won't recognize you. Hell, you won't even recognize yourself. Because the person you'll become, that person isn't made of glass. That person doesn't break. When someone decides they don't want them anymore, that person doesn't need anyone's approval, anyone's love, anyone's permission to exist. You think I'm being harsh? Good. You need harsh. You need real, because the world isn't going to coddle you. It's not going to hold your hand and tell you everything's going to be okay. It's going to kick you in the teeth and laugh while you're on the ground. And the only way you're going to survive is if you learn to stop expecting kindness from people who don't know the meaning of the word. Do you know what the real tragedy is here? It's not what they did to you. It's what you're doing to yourself. You're letting them live in your head, letting their words, their actions, their absence define you. You're giving them power they don't deserve. And for what? For closure? For understanding? For some kind of justice? Justice? That's a good one. Let me tell you something about justice. It doesn't exist, not in the way you think it does. The universe doesn't care about right and wrong, about fairness, about who deserves what. The only justice you're ever going to get is the justice you create for yourself. And do you know what that justice looks like? It's not revenge. It's not making them pay for what they did. It's walking away. It's living a life so full, so incredible, so untouchable, that their existence becomes irrelevant. That's justice. That's power. And that's what you need to focus on. But you can't do that until you let go, until you stop looking back, until you stop letting their shadows block out your light. They don't deserve your thoughts. They don't deserve your pain. They don't deserve you. And when you finally realize that, when you finally take back your power, they'll feel it. Oh, they won't admit it, of course. They'll pretend they don't care, that you never mattered to them. But deep down, it'll eat at them. It'll haunt them. Because they'll know they lost something they'll never get back. So what's it gonna be, kid? Are you going to keep living in their shadow, letting their actions define you? Or are you going to step into the light and leave them behind? Because the choice is yours. It's always been yours. And the second you make it, the second you choose yourself over them, you'll be unstoppable. And they'll know it. They'll feel it. And they'll regret it. But by then, you won't care. Because you'll be too busy living the life they never thought you could have. Too busy being the person they were too blind to see. Now go. Be the storm. Be the fire. Be unforgettable. You think this is hard? You think this pain, this betrayal, is the worst thing you'll ever face? It's not. Life isn't done with you yet. The world is full of people just like them. Leeches, liars, cowards who'll take and take until there's nothing left of you. And if you don't learn now, right now, how to cut them off, how to let them drown in their own emptiness, then you'll spend the rest of your life as a victim. And victims, they don't survive. They fade. They disappear. They die. You want to know the truth? Nobody's coming to save you. No one's going to pick you up, dust you off, and fix what they broke. That's your job. It's always been your job. And the longer you wait, the more you waste time hoping for some miracle, the more of yourself you'll lose. So stop waiting. Stop bleeding for people who wouldn't shed a tear for you. Get up. Fight. Burn every bridge if you have to. But don't you dare let them win. Don't you dare let them turn you into a shell of who you were meant to be. Because here's the harshest truth of all. If you don't rise from this, if you don't become something stronger, something untouchable, then they were right about you. Every insult, every disrespect, every goddamn lie. They win if you let this break you. And you weren't born to lose. You weren't born to bow down, to beg, to break. So don't you dare give them the satisfaction. Don't you dare let them walk away thinking they were right. Prove them wrong. Prove yourself right. Or stay here, stay small, and let them live in your head forever. The choice is yours, but time isn't waiting.